Ms. Shireen Sethi, COO, The Network One Media. She will lead us through the realms of technology and AI, as well as education in sports innovation.
How do you see the landscape where adoption of data analytics for athlete performance is concerned?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's fantastic to be here, and it's a great initiative by CII to transform sports in the country. Data and the theme appears to be more on technology and analytics, which is our favorite subject. And we've been in this for almost 20 years, working with the Indian cricket team for the last 20 years, Indian hockey team for the last 15 years. Weightlifting, boxing, athletics, table tennis for the London and Rio Olympics for the Indian contingents. A long journey for the last 20 years, met up with a lot of resistance to change. I think the sporting community is pretty rigid in embracing anything new. And the implementation part of it is a key here. And how do you overcome the resistance to change? And over the years, even I've seen the best of the coaches. Even the great Dennis Lillee, one of the legends in cricket, fast bowling, was insecure. He thought that technology is going to replace him as a coach. It is not AI, doesn't mean artificial intelligence. AI is augmented intelligence. We are only going to augment the intelligence of the coaches, of the stakeholders. So I think data is a new oil. And if you're not embracing data and you're not doing it in a very scientific manner, you can get more out of your investments, whether it is a fan engagement, whether it's the sports operations, whether it's the coaching and high performance. Analytics and technology are horizontals, and it has to be applied very carefully, implemented very carefully. Preparing the organization for the change is the most important thing. I remember in 2001 or 2, when I went to Sports Authority of India office, they were talking about investing in a biomechanical lab, spending about 8 crores those period of time. And I was talking to the national 100-meter champion, and he had never seen himself on a video. So people are talking about spending 8 crores on those times in 2001-2, and where the organization was not ready. Okay, you spend on AI, you spend on the technology platform, it's going to throw up a lot of data, but who's going to read through that data? So you're talking about a coaching in a very different way, where the coaching system has to transition from naked eye to using visual-based to data-driven coaching. I've been evangelizing visual-based coaching for the last 20 years, but even now, today, in most of the sport, it's still naked eye coaching. I'm not saying it is bad, but it has got its limitations. And
I'm going to just take that point forward here, where Crick Heroes is concerned. Since we're talking cricket, cricket is one of the sports which has adapted a lot, whether it is fan engagement, whether it is IoT, whether it comes to smart sensors, etc. The kind of biases that Ramki is talking about, have you seen that changing? And let's talk only about athletics performance or athletes' performance at the moment. Is the adoption very high, because cricket is very well funded, or because there is a lot more activity there?
Sure. Since our platform is primarily focused on grassroots cricket, that is something which I can talk about. So what we have seen in our 7 years of journey so far, people, specifically the grassroots cricketers, are very open to data and what data can basically throw to them in terms of performance analysis, or in terms of deciding strategy, in terms of fielding their playing 11, in fact studying their own strengths and weaknesses. So I think players themselves have been very open to the idea of using data to improve. Even we work with 20 plus cricket associations of India and about 40 plus ICC affiliate nations. So even there we have definitely seen them changing their views about using data to improve their player performances and all. So
do you find language, or if the athletes are from smaller towns, is there an issue there for being scared of technology? Or do you find it's easy?
I don't think our app, let's say, is available in 10 languages. Even then, English is like mostly used. Second highest is Hindi in terms of language, but that is also not very high. So I don't think language is that much of a barrier. The major reason being cricket, we have been always seeing cricket in broadcast in English for like almost all the throughout the, recently IPL, and they have changed cricket broadcast in terms of regional language and all, and for the better, right? The kind of growth which we have seen recently, it's because of those changes. But having said that, people are comfortable reading scorecards, reading statistics, understanding the data in terms of English. Because, like these are like basic mathematics, actually, basically, numbers in short. So I don't think English as a language is a barrier in terms of understanding data.
Okay. Abhishek Benakia, I'd like to come to you. When we talk about fan engagement, so there are two parts to it. One is improving athletes' performance, understanding the opponent, which is where data is being used a lot. When it comes to the fans, do we somewhere tend to neglect them?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me here. Fans, unfortunately, in India are one of the most neglected communities, right? If you look at Western sports, especially the US sports and soccer in Europe, the entire fan experience is curated, right? There are personas of each fan, all the way from the moment you get into the stadium digitally, not using a paper ticket. So having smart beacons across the stadium that will guide you to your seat in the fastest route possible. It will tell you which concession stand has the lowest line, so you can go and buy your concessions. I think the whole idea of putting the fan at the forefront, creating a completely immersive and personalized fan experience has not yet picked up in India. Hopefully it will, and I think it needs to if we are to host the Olympics and do a really good job at it. But today technologies like smart beacons, RFID tags, obviously AI, all of that can be integrated together to create a very holistic fan experience.
There is one issue that I'd actually like to ask all the panelists, which is you made a point about the fact that reams and reams of data are thrown up. But how do you analyze that data? And do you have the manpower trained enough to analyze that data? Neil, I'd like to come to you for that. Neil runs a program on sports management, an institute, one of the rare ones, which is being developed by industry, right? Yeah. So how do you feel your students and the current, we all know that there is a shortage of skilled manpower to be able to analyze this data, to be able to even run these programs or this thing. How can an institute like yours help?
Yeah, first is about stepping back. So it's not about just teaching them one particular subject like data analytics or teaching them about market research. It's what we do with our students. It's a rigorous program, 15 months, post-grad, average age is about 26, 27. And we teach them how do you just create a vision statement, missions, objectives. So when you're doing data visualizations or market research or anything learning Python, it's got to connect to something. It's got to connect to a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 1-year plan, a 1-quarter plan. So with our students, we have them go through that cycle multiple times. So we bring in all new technology. We have some of the best in the industry come in and teach. We have entrepreneurs talk about how they've developed it. But what's unique about our program, and I think what other sports management programs are doing now, is helping students think like an entrepreneur or think like a pioneer and not think like a student. Because if you think like a student, you're just going to learn something, regurgitate it, and get through that so you can get to the next exam. But if you think like one of the people here, or many people here, or many of the others that are creating our industry, then you're not thinking about learning Python just for the sake of it, or learning AI just for the sake of getting through a paper. You're learning AI or virtual reality because you want to build the best youth football development program in the country because you want more kids to have a safe and engaging place to play. So then you have a whole different relationship with learning. And that's the students we bring into our program, they're the ones who are hungry. Not because sports is cool and they want to hang out with Virat Kohli, because sports has made a difference to them and they want to contribute. So to answer your question, I never see it as a micro thing about data analytics, AI, virtual reality, sports technology. I think about it as an enabler of something that my heart wants to do to make the industry better.
And also generates that kind of work or products that we haven't seen anywhere else in the world, right?
In India, I came from the US, you can see with the accent. I was born there, raised there, worked in professional sports there. And then I moved to India 15 years ago and I've been immensely involved in the industry here. And people always say, why did you come here when everything was going great over there. And I feel like in India, something that can take 20 years somewhere else can be done in 2 years here, if you have the right stakeholders behind it and the right passion and energy and support behind it. So to your point, yes, the kind of access we have to information technology in this country, and if utilized in the right way, injected into the sports industry with the right stakeholders behind it, we can have access to what Abhishek was talking about, 100%, like the smart stadiums and all of that is there in the West. It's not here at all in India, and it seems very far away. But I believe that we have one model that comes up very soon. You're going to see 20 more of those come up faster. I mean, don't quote me on this, but you'll see, versus how fast it happened in the US. It takes time. These things take a lot. But people in India, once they see something that really works, not just from an impact standpoint, but from a financial upside, from a profitability as well, and government's able to see some benefits, then you're going to see many other states, like we've seen with Odisha, now Tamil Nadu, now Gujarat, everyone wants to do this. All of a sudden, a lot of the movement will start to happen as well.
Sure. Yeah. Arnab Mitra's company SportWatch is very unusual. They're one of the very few who have a sports streaming platform. Arnab, 20 seconds on your platform, and then how that platform is actually helping in talent development.
Thank you so much for having me. So a platform is looking to provide, more than a platform, it's a tool, a service, as well as a platform. So we are looking to provide opportunities to everybody to have visual records of what their performances have been through the entire time. So you could be playing in a competition A today and a competition D 5 years down the line, and everything can be tracked with video data, video evidence. So like Mr. Subramaniam just said, that a lot of data is available, but at the mass level, is it really possible to find the right people who can interpret that? Maybe at the top level there is. But what somebody can probably at the first level of shortlisting easily have an opinion on, and an educated opinion on, is a video which is made available to you. So a Sachin Tendulkar and a Vinod Kamli 664-run partnership, if it was available to you, you did not need the, that sort of a huge ecosystem of Mumbai journalists to bring it to the fore. It could have happened with, let's say, Mahendra Singh Dhoni in Jharkhand when he was 16, right? So that's what we aspire to do. We want to provide ways of minimizing challenges. While that's a tough thing to do infrastructure-wise in India, be it in any field, but how much of software layers can we develop to ensure that the mass, somebody who is just starting to play, an 8-year-old can start recording, because 8-year-olds are wonderful with mobile phones nowadays. So how can they use the mobile phones to track their performances, have a record of their performances, and also find the right people, maybe a coach who can help them interpret the performances. So that's how probably an ecosystem can be built, where even the topmost talent is has the same amount of coverage as the lowest, somebody starting off, right? Which is probably the one thing that everybody is aspiring to do in Indian sports right now.
Where sports mechanics is concerned, we know you a lot where cricket is concerned. In terms of the other sports, you mentioned hockey. Do you find that the other federations, the other sports, other disciplines are equally quick at adapting? Are the athletes open to this? And what are the challenges that you face?
Money. Money is the biggest challenge. You go to any other sport, everybody talks about budget constraints. I haven't come across one single client who hadn't said about this budget constraints. Technology is expensive, but it can get you long-term returns much faster than what you can get. In hockey, when I went, I didn't know much about hockey, but I went and told Michael Nobbs, who was the Indian coach then, prior to the Olympic qualifiers. 6 months before the Olympic qualifiers, we got into a discussion, and I said, this is what I've done in cricket, and it's easy to replicate the same in other sports. He said, fantastic, I've seen what you've done in cricket, so we want you on board. And we got into hockey, we found out that around the world, in the hockey community, not much of data analytics was there. It's only about people watching the videos, giving their feedback and other things. So we did a small analytics on the in the hockey Olympics part of it. Germany made 480 substitutions in the whole of Olympics. And on an average, a German player played only for 4 minutes on the field. India made 240 substitutions. And there were many players who played the full 70 minutes. So we were not utilizing the rolling substitution properly. And yeah, the fitness levels of Germans are known, and but they are spending only 4 minutes on the field on an average. And here you have the Indian players whose fitness levels are slightly below the German players, but they are playing the full 70 minutes. 4 minutes they play, they burst, explosive. And they are not predictable. Because with all the analysis and other things, you are under the radar. We can easily track the patterns. And the German teams were not predictable because the role play was very different. Every few minutes, they change roles. And there are many players in the Indian team who can play only one particular role because they played along with that. They were in the comfort zone, and they were not willing. So it becomes very easily predictable with all the analytics and other things. So we had to change, and we brought about the change. Unfortunately, the Indian team qualified for the Olympics after a long time, and we got on board with the Indian hockey team. Until date, we served them. Yeah, but the kind of freedom we get, it's all limited. It's all based on commercial things. So, finding people with the skill sets who can deliver value, who can contribute at that level, because it's a combination of domain knowledge, technology, and analytics. These three combinations are very, very difficult to get people. Not many people are there, because a lot of people are there in the technology side of it. They don't understand sport. A lot of people in the sport who don't understand technology that much. You're not asking them to, I tell my team that, hey, I'm not asking you to develop a chat GPT. I'm asking you to consume it. So for that itself, there is a resistance to change. So how do we manage that? How do we get everybody on board on the power of analytics and how we can power? I think we are the poster boys of business analytics globally. Can India become a global leader in sports analytics? I think there is a great chance. There's a great opportunity because every Indian has an inherent strength in data mining and data warehousing. You are analytical by nature. Can you believe that 3 companies from Chennai dominate 80% of the cricket analytics in the world? 3 companies from Chennai alone. So I think there is a great opportunity for us, and we presented this to the Sai, and so this is an extra edge which we need to, Dr. Atulya Mishra talked about in the morning, providing that extra edge to break the nanosecond. That's the thing which we can provide, analytics can provide. It's very, very important for everybody to embrace it and implement it in a very robust manner where because you have to prepare the organization. There are no two ways about it. And what I thought we had done, I had an early mover advantage for the last 20 years. We're doing in multiple sport analytics. All that got washed away with the OpenAI and ChatGPT and other comes. So whatever I thought and planned a couple of months back has become obsolete now. So it's changing rapidly. And I think that is the edge which we should give our athletes. We have to make them smarter athletes. And how do we accelerate the development life cycle of an athlete using AI and AI in sports? There is a phenomenal set of possibilities.
Yes, yes. Abhishek Desai, what has been your experience? Do you agree that we have an edge when it comes to data mining, and maybe that's one area that the country could develop more products in?
Still, I don't think we have an edge, but if we work actively towards it, we can definitely have an edge. Just the way Ramki said, there are plenty of such companies working in this direction. I think there is one company called ClickWiz, which is probably, if I'm not wrong, UK-based company. They do fantastic work in data analytics and visualization, right? So the kind of quality work, like those people are doing, we will definitely need to basically run very fast, before others move ahead of us. So, as a country, we definitely have a lot of talent in IT. I don't think anybody can debate that. But in terms of moving ahead as a country, in terms of data analytics and becoming that powerhouse, we definitely have a lot of catch up to do.
As far as your own app or Crick Heroes is concerned, because the last 6 months with AI, it's been like every day there's something new popping up,
Yes.
and every day you think, oh, you can't get wonderstruck, and you do. Have you had to make some rapid changes to your own product as well?
Yes. So there are a couple of use cases which we are working on right now. In fact, one of them is also live. So what we did, we generate a lot of data. So we have like 24 million plus cricketers using our platform. And we have a lot of statistics attached to those cricketers. So what we did, we profiled those cricketers based on a simple machine learning algorithm. So I wouldn't call it AI, but it's machine learning. So K means clustering algorithm. Basically, we clustered those cricketers into 4 categories. And somebody is a hard hitter, which means he or she deals in sixes or boundaries more than singles and doubles. And then somebody is an accumulator who deals in ones and twos and can play long innings, right? So based on your past data, we could analyze what kind of cricket they play as cricketers, right? And we attach those tags into their profile. So now as a team captain, I can see what is the balance of my team. How many hard hitters I have, how many destroyers I have, how many accumulators I have, right? Or how many steady batters I have. Similarly, all the bowlers also got similar tags, right? So this is a very basic example of how machine learning can be used to, make actual sense of data in common parlance. And another use case which we are working on is we generate basically ball-to-ball commentary automatically. Basically, you can score a match on Crick Heroes and you will get a automatically generated commentary. Now we are enhancing that commentary using ChatGPT. So basically, just the way probably, I'm not sure if we'll be able to reach to, let's say, CrickBuzz level or Crickinfo level, because those are like actual humans and experts writing those commentaries. But we are trying to get close to that level using AI. In grassroots cricket also. So for example, even if there is a society level match happening or my college match happening, I will get the same feel as an international match. Somebody who has written a commentary for me, like a Crickinfo editor.
But
so,
how much is the difference? Can you tell that it is?
Hopefully, eventually we should be able to minimize that difference. Yeah.
And are you going to have some AI presenters as well?
Let's see.
It could be bad news for us. Arnab, tell us a little bit about the kind of work your platform is doing in terms of at the university and college level, where multidisciplines can be streamed live, as well as the analytics and the scoring can be done.
Yeah, so we are not just, we focus a lot on creating the platform or creating the tool in a way that it can become simpler for somebody who is not at all into the streaming background. Or so what we did is, for example, a couple of features would be like you can create your own graphics in a graphic editor. So you won't need anybody else. You can create. So for example, a sport isn't yet invented, and that gets invented. You can create your own scoring software. So there is a score editor, basically. So these things coming together allows more and more users to, find as many. So for example, right now, with one of our clients, we are able to work across 23, 24 sports across 10 cities. So it's not limited to the sports that we focus on generally, which are mass sports in terms of cricket, football, volleyball, basketball, but even sports like, let's say long jump is being streamed and with the tech. So we are able to also integrate with AI cameras. We work very closely with 2 or 3 European AI camera providers, and we are integrated as a software with them. So you can always find solutions as at an infra level to integrate that and save all the challenges that. So just before in the discussion before this, Mr. Singhania spoke about the federations facing challenges legally in terms of participants complaining that they were not selected via discrepancies in shortlisting. Now that can be absolutely eliminated by placing a particular AI camera at that facility, which runs, through and through across all sports. And you can always refer back to that video, which will also have that moment tagged for you to, the moment that you made the difference can be tagged in the video. You can, with a click, bring out the highlights for that moment. So it's not dependent on human, missing out the highlights, if you can say that. So though errors get eliminated to a large extent, it still keeps on developing as we speak, and it's growing very fast. I was just speaking to Neil about that it's growing so fast now, the demands are growing so fast. And I think we underestimate the fans' interest in acquiring such stuff, consuming such stuff. We as Indian businessmen probably do not understand that there is already, what level of demand already exists. So probably we are opening up to that idea. And I think more and more I think the next level that sports leagues, sports franchises are now going up to is fan engagement, right? And this is what we are talking about. We are talking about giving the fans what they want at a very, very simple level. It's not going to be a huge thing like probably a US market has already reached. They also started very simple. So the simpler that it gets, we focus on making it more and more simpler by giving you easy layers to apply, easy layers to extract. So that's how we look at engaging more and more people, and we are also experiencing growing demand for all those facilities that we had probably just imagined a couple of years back that this would be cool. But now that's exactly what people are wanting. So that's
they are
an experience.
discerning now.
We are learning from the people who are consuming it right now because they want it fast, and we need to develop fast for that.
Sure. Abhishek Benakia, Ramki made a very important point about one of the challenges being money. Certain federations, certain associations would not have the kind of coffers that cricket would. You worked a lot even on IoT where cricket is concerned. What was your experience like, and do you feel that it's much more than money that's a challenge?
Yeah, certainly. I think first it's the mindset. I think today, especially with IoT and sensors are fairly cheap, where it's not price restrictive for a player to use it. You have to understand that what sort of technology or what combination of technologies would be best fit for your particular sport. So IoT is a bunch of sensors, wearable devices. They give you a lot of data, right? You have computer vision today being used both in analytics as well as in broadcast. In fact, DRS, Hawkeye, they're all computer vision-based, camera-based technologies. Then you've got mixed reality, which is augmented reality, and virtual reality, which help in training. And these are simple apps, right? You can, if you have a decent enough smartphone, you can get fairly decent level of analytics coming out of those devices. I think the game changer is going to be generative AI, because today, it's what OpenAI has done is you can create your own apps. I mean, you can, it's like, you upload some data. If I'm an athlete, I'll upload my data for the last 2 years and give it a voice prompt. Hey, give me an analysis of, based on this regimen, when could I get injured? And it'll give me a fairly accurate output of, hey, look, this is your body profile, and this is when you could get injured. So, no, I don't think money is going to be a concern, because it's up to the individual federation, individual athletes as well to use the technology which is almost at their fingertips right now. The second key point is you've got all this data. Now, can you make sense of it, right? There's so much data coming in, but is the app or is whatever you're using able to give you the insights that is going to help you take your game to the next level? So to an earlier point, think of it like an augmentation to a coach's, it's not going to replace a coach. You will always need that intuitive feel that a coach has, but that data, without that data, I think any athlete is going to be at a severe disadvantage when it comes to competing with someone who has that, plus a coach's input.
Neil, we've all talked about how good AI is and all the benefits, etc. One of the things that I'm sure your students would be coming up with is A, the ethical issues, and B, adapting AI simple applications and tools into sports management. What we're talking about here is at a far larger level.
Yes.
But at the management level, what innovations are you seeing?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of these same topics come up. You know, one of the challenges we have in our industry is money, is being able to go out and purchase and acquire this information, this technology and implement it. Two, we have lack of resources, individuals who we can hire that know what to do with this information. So you might have the person at the top has been to all the conferences, met all the top data scientists in the world, but if your mid-level manager, your junior employee doesn't know what to do with this, you're now investing a lot in technology that is not getting implemented per your needs. And you know, three is one that wasn't talked about, but we all know it, is time. We don't, when you're running a business in Indian sports, or you're running a league, you're running a club, you don't have any time. You're running around, you have to deliver, deliver, deliver. So what I want, not just our Sports Management Institute, but everybody who's involved in education of sports, you know, professionals in the world, is to invest in simulations. You know, our industry, we talked about being so dynamic. It is. Every quarter, things change. Government regulations, GST, things change. All of a sudden, the weather changes, things change. And if our students can go through enough simulations, using AI, using virtual reality, using all this different technology that's available, so they can prepare themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it might be, intellectually, to deal with, to at least be somewhat prepared for the industry that they're going to come into. Because I don't think that all of us who run businesses have enough time to keep training our employees in all of this and then hope that they might go out and use it. You have to hope that they pick it up on the job while they're investing your resources. So we're not there yet. We are getting there. Our institute and our investor and our chancellor is looking at bringing in more resources so we can actually create real-world simulations using artificial intelligence and virtual reality. So our students are much, much more well-equipped to go out there in the field. So when they join any of these companies or any of them out there, they're not just able to absorb the information that's coming in from the top, but they're able to create new solutions using technology that is out there that maybe a lot of people don't know available. But more importantly, they're psychologically ready to deal with the changing landscape of this environment.
Ramki, while we're talking today of generative AI allowing no-code development of apps, you just type in a line and I can generate a video, I can generate an image, etc. As someone who's been seeing this landscape for a very long time, what, according to you, is going to be the biggest challenge? Let's leave the monetization, let's leave everything else aside. Is it going to be just people who can tackle this, or is there going to be some kind of a chaos? Because if everyone can start accessing this, is there a problem?
I think there was a revolution when technology came in. Then there was a revolution when the mobile came in. There was a revolution when the cloud came in. I think generative AI is a revolution which is happening, and everybody will get used to it, and it's been made more simple. It's an assistant there. Today I have my coach on my mobile, guiding me on everything. So, and it's a coach like olden days where he was a fitness trainer, he was a psychologist. So this coach on the mobile is going to be an all-encompassing performance director, your personal one. So that's how it's going to go, and I think everybody will get used to it, into consuming it, because technology is driving it, and the whole world is embracing it. So people will get into that at some point of time, maybe not today or tomorrow, but eventually they will have to, because the people who adopt to it earlier
Will be the winners.
Will be the winners, and they are seeing the benefits. You can see many of the sports organizations whom we work with have all benefited because of the change we brought about in the complete, not only in the performance management also, but in the entire sports process management, in terms of operations management. Completely automated, where they are able to realize the benefit. Today, the data pipelines are set. And knowing what data to collect is one. How to collect it is the next challenge. What to do with the data is the final thing. That's the higher end of the value chain. And that's where, a lot of opportunities are there because everybody doing their part of work. So the company which is doing the last part in terms of the analytics is making sense and creating the intelligence How do you interpret the data and translate it into a language which can be understood by the coaching staff, the support staff? That's the whole thing. A lot of people don't know how to interpret data. They are all the coaches, all the, even the latest coaches, everybody at the elite level, still not yet comfortable with interpreting data because it's not their skill set, quite rightfully so. Sir, there is a new role which is created because of that, because of the data explosion. There is a new role for companies like us to play a role in there and accelerate on both sides. One is into the technical aspects, the second is the tactical aspects. How do you derive strategies, gameplays, competitive intelligence? Everything stems out of data. If you have data, then you can do wonders.
Since this session is called Future Frontiers, I'm going to ask all my panelists to make one prediction for 2024. What is it that you're most excited about where technology or your own app is concerned for 24?
Definitely enhancing the not just grassroots cricket, but also the overall grassroots sports ecosystem with the help of data, AI, and even with the video technology. So I think we are going to see a lot of strides happening in all these three areas in 2024, and rapidly so.
Neil, what about you?
I'll stay on the education side. I feel like administrators of education institutes have to think very fast and no longer focus on exams and multiple choice questions and the old way of doing education, because we know students have access to every single thing and more at their fingertips. So why don't we go into more boardroom discussions, debates, case studies, developing communication skills versus focusing on memorization skills and plagiarizing skills.
What is your prediction, Ramki?
Yeah, we have a long journey, and we a clear path in terms of developing the sports experience economy, and that's what the platform what we are creating is going to create the sports experience economy and provide value for all the stakeholders in the sports ecosystem.
Arnab?
So one thing that probably we did not touch as much, I guess, is while we discussed about sports bodies like federations and governments opening up to the idea of using AI and technology more and more in talent identification, which I think in India is the biggest challenge because of the geography, the size of it, and how to optimize it. So finding ways of using our technology to cater to those solutions, helping us build it for both the levels, the amateur level as well as people, athletes playing at a higher level and aspiring to be better than they are. That's where the focus will be largely, I feel, in 2024, and I think we can play a very good part in it.
Abhishek?
So two things from my end. Look, AI is the popular answer, but I'm very interested in seeing how we'll address the bias issue with AI. I think that's key, and data governance. And very keen to see how we accept fan engagement and put the fan at the forefront and see what technologies come in for their benefit.
So bigger and brighter, everything. Thank you very much. Thank you for the session. Any questions? Yes, please. We have 5 minutes for session. Can we ask questions? Yeah? Okay.
The question is for Abhishek Binaikia. You spoke of fan engagement. Prior to the question, my experience, around 2017-18, I spoke with a couple of teams in the ISL league regarding fan engagement. The feedback was not that great. I would like to understand if there has been any change in the last 5 years. As far as what I am aware of in the last 5 years, I am aware a lot of apps being developed, which I don't think has nothing to do with fan engagement. I am aware of people putting up LCD screens outside of that city for fans. That again is not fan engagement because you don't know who is coming and who is going out. So if you know something, I would love to know that. The second question is Subramanian. You are working with different players in the sports ecosystem. If you could guide me as to whom do you touch base on to pitch? That seems to be something, a very gray area in this field.
With respect to fan engagement, as I said, not much has happened. Of course, depending on sport to sport, there is slight difference. You see a lot of data coming out, but none of it is personalized per se, right? So even, I'll take an example of the Cricket World Cup. You still have to go and buy paper tickets, stand in line to get your tickets. That's not a really good fan experience, right? So you have to digitize it. Some of the technologies I mentioned are fairly easy to deploy. Starts off with smart stadiums, starts off with internalizing that the fan is at the forefront of your sport, whether you're a franchise, whether you're a federation, and so on. But very little has been done. I mean, you have IPL fan parks and so on, which brings the fan together, create a little bit of an experience, but nothing's personalized yet, per se, and I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that area.
So whom do you approach? It depends upon the business you're talking about. If you're talking about catering to the coaching side of it, the coaches, the selectors, the administrators and all that. So you, particularly, if you're talking to the sports operations part of it in terms of the event management, then the kind of stakeholders whom we are addressing will be different. And if you're talking about helping brands get closer to the fans, then you have to talk to the CMOs and the CIOs of the corporates who can help you sell your solutions.
So you spoke of working with the Hockey Federation. In case of Hockey Federation, who was it that you approached? Or what about the multiple people in multiple levels? How exactly was that?
Yeah, but, we went to Hockey Federation with a track record. I went and met the coach, Michael Nobbs.
Coach.
And Michael Nobbs being an Australian, and India mein to gora chalta hai na. So when he said that it is very useful, everybody accepted. The acceptance was straight away there.